The Planning Board reviews a proposal to expand zoning for solar arrays, and we talk with Police Chief Paul McDonald about the legalization of recreational marijuana on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, December 13th, 2016. I'm Sarah Mantle. The Planning Board will consider expanding zoning for large-scale solar arrays in the town of Barnstable. Town planner Elizabeth Jenkins says the expansion is being considered in anticipation of the Cotuit Water District making a request for a large-scale solar array.
Recall the ground-mounted solar voltaic overlay district was first put in place, I believe, around 2012, 2013, when the Green Communities Act first came through in the state. And the idea was to promote the development of alternative energy technologies, in this case large-scale, greater than 250 kilowatt ground-mounted solar voltaic installations. And so we promulgated a set of regulations, the GEMS-POD ordinance, that regulates the placement of the placement of solar panels, as well as some operational issues all the way through decommissioning, and it allows for the development of these large solar fields as of right. So we adopted the GEMS-POD in 2 locations in town, the first being around the airport and surrounding industrial properties, the second being around the transfer station and Marston's Mills, as well as surrounding properties there. And the town, in partnership, the town and the airport, in partnership with CVEC, have developed 2 very large-scale solar voltaic arrays in those locations, and there has been some very recent interest in developing a large property in Marston's Mills, a private developer converting a property there to a large solar voltaic installation. So to date, I think the ordinance has been very successful. I think those solar installations are certainly models in the community in terms of what can be developed, running very successfully, and all going well in that respect. So the impetus for this workshop was a request we received from the Cotuit Water District, and they're here tonight and can speak more to that, about rezoning some property owned by the Cotuit Water District in connection with the protection of water for the drinking supply wells, rezoning that property for large-scale ground-mounted solar. So in response to that, being comprehensive planners, as the planning board are, we thought it would be prudent if we reached out to all the water districts in town to see if they had any interest in similar type development. So in anticipation of a request from Cotuit to seek a map amendment of the GEMS-POD to include land in Cotuit, we wanted to allow this opportunity to engage all of the water districts in that discussion.
The board will not take a vote on that until after a public hearing has been held on the matter. Thursday, recreational marijuana becomes legal in Massachusetts. To find out how that will affect our local police force, we chat with Police Chief Paul McDonald. Chief, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are things going?
Not too bad. Can't complain. We are preparing for a big day, which is coming up Thursday, December 15th, which is the day the new law comes into effect, the legalization of marijuana, which takes effect on this Thursday, the 15th. This is the start of a dramatic change for everybody, particularly in law enforcement. I do not think this is a good idea, but we have to deal with it and prepare for it. And it makes, basically, for anyone over the age of 21, now it's legal for them to possess and use marijuana.
Now, so how will this change things for the Barnstable Police Department? I know it's going to be a while before anyone can actually legally purchase marijuana, but how does this change things in the interim for the police department.
Well, that is true, but as of the 15th, it is now. It's before it was a civil violation to possess an ounce or less. Now that even that is gone. Now you may possess an ounce of marijuana in public in your house. You may possess up to 10 ounces of marijuana. You still cannot consume it in public. You cannot consume it or smoke it in any place that is designated a no smoking area. But now it is perfectly legal to have marijuana, and the fines that are associated with this, they're all civil penalties. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to regulate and tax the businesses involved in a manner very similar to alcohol. If you are in possession of alcohol in a public place, you are subject to a fine of up to $100. If you are in possession of marijuana in a public place, you can be assessed a civil fine of up to $100. So it's very, very similar to what they do, the way they enforce alcohol and the way they tax alcohol. They're doing the exact same thing with marijuana, and takes effect as like I said, as of Thursday, and it's going to change the way we do business.
And I know a lot of people have raised some concerns, and some of the concerns are about driving under the influence of marijuana. How does this change that whole relationship?
It always has been, to operate a motor vehicle or any type of equipment, a boat or an airplane, under the influence of alcohol or any type of substance. The problem is with alcohol, there's a very clear-cut test for alcohol. There's a breathalyzer. Marijuana or opiates, there is no such, test. You cannot take a breathalyzer. You could take a blood test if the person is willing to submit to a blood test. But basically, you make an arrest on the officer's observations, and then you go to court and you have to testify. There is a DRE, a drug recognition expert class, that is taught by the Mass State Police, but however, Barnstable District Court does not accept that as testimony, as expert testimony, so we cannot get that in. So yes, this is going to be a problem, and this is going to have to get addressed also.
Now, why, Chief McDonald, why do we not accept that here in Barnstable?
Excellent question. It is accepted in some of the courts throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but here in Barnstable, we have several of officers here that have gone through the training, because we did see an increase of people operating under the influence of not alcohol, but some other type of substance. And there are certain recognized telltale signs and mannerisms that you do display when you're under the influence. However, Barnstable District Court will not accept that as expert testimony, so we can't get it in. So we fall back on the other types of observations, unsteady on the feet, red and bloodshot eyes, things like that. And a lot of times that just simply is not enough. Where you have the alcohol, you have the breathalyzer.
Right. It's a little more concrete there, rather than, I suppose someone could argue that they had bloodshot eyes from allergies or something else.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a problem, but there's going to be a learning curve to it. And like you said, you cannot purchase it. There's no place you can legally purchase it. Come the 15th. But if you are in possession of it, that is no longer going to be a crime.
Yeah. Something definitely you're going to have to take into consideration over the next few years. I'm sure it'll be a long transition.
It will be a long transition, but this is it's a game changer for police, for law enforcement. So, but we will cope with it. We will deal with it. So much for the war on drugs.
Right, there you go. Well, just tell me a little bit, how else has the week been shaping up for you guys at the department?
The week has not been terribly busy. We had a couple of motor vehicle accidents, and of course we had the final of the strolls. We had the Oswald stroll and the West Barnstable stroll last week, Wednesday and Friday night. They went very, very well. They were well attended. And then, of course, we had that horrific incident on Waters Edge Road out in Masters Mills, where an individual was attacked by a dog, causing some serious injuries to a young lady's face. That was kind of a horrific incident, and that was unfortunate.
Yeah, very, very frightening situation there. In that case, Chief, is that dog then quarantined or evaluated in some way?
The dog immediately was quarantined, has to be quarantined for a minimum of 10 days. Then there will be a hearing, to see what they're going to do with the dog. Town manager can order the dog to be destroyed, or the owner can voluntarily have the dog put down if the dog is deemed to be a nuisance. We are still investigating it. We're not exactly sure what happened, why the dog did this. The dog is 9 years old. The dog has had no violence tendency in the past, from what everybody's telling us, but something did happen to spark the dog, and unfortunately the young lady got some very extensive, severe injuries.
Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 8 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with Register of Deeds Jack Mead. He's going to tell us all about the latest real estate numbers for Barnstable County. We'll talk with Town Manager Mark Ells. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.